Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. In the tangled world of Genoa City, no relationship is ever truly safe, especially when Nick Newman is involved. For years, Nick has been the charming playboy, torn between the two women who've defined much of his adult life, Phyllis Summers and Sharon Newman. But in a shocking twist that no one saw coming, a single night of passion threatens to unravel decades of trust, friendship, and fragile peace. What happens when a man with a history of flip-flopping between women does the unthinkable again? Buckle up, because this is the story of how Nick ruined everything. Phyllis and Sharon, two women who were once mortal enemies, then cautious allies, and finally something resembling true friends. Their relationship has been battle-tested through love triangles, custody battles, and even death and return. Though they both share a complicated history with Nick, recent years have seen them coexisting in relative peace, but all that stability was shattered after a moment of weakness, a one-night stand that reawakens old feelings and burns every bridge in its path. And Nick, reeling from a bitter falling out with Sally Spectra and a spiral of self-doubt after being sidelined at Newman Enterprises, found himself drifting. Phyllis, fresh off a failed relationship and desperate to feel something again, welcomed Nick into her suite for what was supposed to be a night of comfort and closure. Instead, it was the match that lit a long-dormant fire. Phyllis awakens to Nick beside her, his face marked by the same confusion and regret mirrored in her own. The silence between them says it all. This wasn't supposed to happen. They agree to keep it quiet, to pretend it never happened. But in Genoa City, secrets never stay buried for long. Across town, Sharon feels a shift. Her recent emotional vulnerability, having relied heavily on Nick during the Cameron-Kirsten ordeal, had opened the door to hope that maybe, just maybe, they'd finally found a way back to each other. So when Sharon finds out about the one-night stand through a whisper in Crimson Lights, from none other than Summer Newman, who overheard Phyllis on a call, she's blindsided. Sharon confronts Phyllis at the Grand Phoenix in a moment brimming with tension. Phyllis, trying to act unfazed, brushes it off as a lapse in judgment. But Sharon, hurt and humiliated, doesn't buy the excuse. This wasn't just a fling, it was betrayal. You knew how I felt about him, Sharon says, her voice barely above a whisper but full of pain. And you did it anyway. Phyllis, instead of showing remorse, snaps. You don't get to play the victim here, Sharon. He's not yours. He never was. We all know Nick comes back to me eventually. Those words are like daggers, and just like that, their fragile friendship is gone. Nick Newman has always been a man at war with his own desires. When he finds out that Sharon knows the truth and that his one night with Phyllis destroyed more than just a friendship, he's riddled with guilt. He never meant to hurt Sharon, but isn't that what he's always done? His conversation with Sharon is one of the most emotionally raw scenes the show has aired in months. You keep breaking things, Nick, Sharon says. You break hearts, you break trust, and this time, you broke the one thing that I thought might finally be healing. Nick, speechless for once, watches her walk away. The ripple effect begins to spread across Genoa City. Summer is furious. She thought her parents had moved past their drama, and now she sees them relapsing into toxic cycles. Her own relationship with Kyle is fragile, and this only reminds her how damaging love triangles can be. Jack Abbott, a longtime adversary and former lover to both Phyllis and Sharon, warns Nick that he's playing with fire. Eventually, Jack says, you'll have no one left willing to clean up your mess. Victor Newman sees it differently. He views Nick's blunder as a sign of weakness, and he starts pulling strings to push Adam further into the spotlight. Newman Enterprises can't be run on emotion, and Sally? She's secretly thrilled. This public implosion between Nick, Sharon, and Phyllis might just leave Nick vulnerable again, and that's an opening she can work with in the weeks following. The reveal, the animosity between Sharon and Phyllis simmers into a cold war. Passive-aggressive exchanges at society. Icy looks at Chancellor Winter's board meetings. Explosive tension at family functions. Even their children start to notice. Faith and Daniel both beg their mothers to drop the feud. But old wounds don't heal so easily. Phyllis is on the defensive, trying to act like she didn't care about Sharon's friendship. but deep down, even she knows this cost her more than she expected. Just as it seems Sharon is destined to mourn this heartbreak quietly, a surprising new romantic prospect steps in, Chance Chancellor. Their paths cross over community outreach, projects, and mutual grief. Their chemistry is unexpected but undeniable. Chance, still licking his wounds from the Abby Devon drama, finds Sharon's quiet strength soothing. Unlike Nick, Chance is present, reliable, and not caught in a love triangle. And suddenly, Sharon doesn't miss Nick so much. Seeing Sharon with Chance sends Nick into a tailspin. He becomes erratic, snapping at family, making poor decisions at work, and drinking more than usual. Victor calls him out on it, but Nikki intervenes, urging her husband to show compassion. Nick finally confesses to Noah how much he regrets that night with Phyllis. "I don't know why I always do this. Why I ruin the best things in my life." Noah, now older and wiser, replies, "Maybe you need to stop falling back on what's comfortable, Dad. And start working on being someone who doesn't break things." Phyllis realizes she's once again become the villain in someone else's story. Determined not to let her legacy be defined by one mistake, she begins therapy and throws herself into revitalizing the Grand Phoenix. She even apologizes to Sharon, though the gesture is met with guarded silence. Phyllis also pulls back from Nick, finally recognizing that their toxic loop isn't love. It's addiction. In a poetic twist, both women Nick hurt begin to thrive. Without him, Sharon and Chance slowly blossom into Genoa City's newest power couple, bringing warmth and emotional maturity to the screen. Viewers rally behind Chance as the refreshing change they didn't know they needed. Phyllis, meanwhile, embraces her independence, reclaiming her status as a business mogul and mother without needing a man to validate her. And Nick? He watches from the sidelines, alone, confronting the damage he's done and realizing that sometimes, one night really can ruin everything. This explosive storyline reminds longtime The Young and the Restless fans of the core truth that has always driven the show: choices have consequences. Nick's decision may have been impulsive, but its fallout will reshape the landscape of Genoa City. In the end, this isn't just a story about a one-night stand. It's about trust, accountability, and the painful cost of always looking back instead of moving forward. And if this is what a single night can do, what's next? Stay tuned. Possible future teasers: Sharon and Chance get engaged, but Nick objects. Phyllis gets a mysterious investor with very personal motives. Summer uncovers a new secret about that fateful night.